Hello, everyone. I am Ashton, and this is Trent.
Hi.
Trent did not know that he was going to be recorded until a few seconds ago, so it's a good thing we have booze. So today, we are going to be taking the 16 personalities test, which will tell us our Myers Briggs personality according to the assessment tools that they take. Now, this is not the real Myers Briggs test. So sometimes that can skew the results. And as we will get to later, even if you take the real Myers Briggs test, your own perceptions can change who you think that you are and how you identify as. So, if you watched my previous video, you know my Myers Briggs type. But if you are new to this channel, see if you can guess in the comments below before we reveal the answer. And I'm not going to tell you his ahead of time, so you can guess his as well. And we're just going to go through the questions that you can follow along with on the description below to see your own personality type. And we're going to talk about why we are answering the way that we are answering. So maybe you can understand what makes his personality type, what makes mine, and the difference between the two. And it will be interesting to see if we even get our personality types from this test.
You want to also discuss the how we perceive the questions, or how they could skew one way or the other as we go along.
Yes, we can do that too. So this will probably be a two-part video, just so you are aware. So question 1. You regularly make new friends. This is a Likert scale. Personally, I'm not really a fan of Likert scales. It's just an odd number of answers from a scale of agree to disagree, and you just answer accordingly. And it says to answer honestly to find out your personality type. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a 7 point scale, so like a 4 would be fairly neutral, and then like maybe say somewhat agree, strongly agree kind of thing, and then on the other side, more of like a somewhat disagree or disagree strongly. Like that's basically the kind of scale it's using.
I kind of want to see what happens if you answer straight down the middle the entire time. I'm not going to do that, but I'm curious what personality it will give us. All right. So you regularly make new friends. I regularly talk to people. Whether or not I would call them friends, I'm going to put this in a strongly disagree. So we're just going to do neutral, slightly agree, or neutral, slightly, strongly, or completely, if that works.
So completely agree or disagree would be the extreme.
Yes.
Yeah, I would also go with strongly disagree. I'd caveat that I would think that for people that do make a lot of friends, or people that are more friendly, would probably consider their ability to be friendly to be more equivalent to making a friend, whereas we would probably, there's a lot of people that we probably, that might would consider us friends because we're friendly with them, but we would not consider them friends.
Sorry.
So that probably kind of skews a little less social for the two of us.
All right. Next question is: you spend a lot of your free time exploring various topics that catch your interest. I'm just gonna put it down as, I don't know. I'm gonna put it down as slightly disagree. I think in the past I would have put this down as like more of an agree, but I'm pretty confident in my personality now. I'm not trying to skew results anymore, and I really just don't have time to be exploring various topics at my leisure anymore.
Yeah, this one would be a hard one for me to answer as well because typically I'll be kind of in a phase where I'm exploring one topic like very in depthly for a period of time, but there's also periods where I might have more free time where I would be spending just a little time kind of between different topics. So I think I'll say strongly agree. I think I think what the question's getting at, it's probably very much like how I approach topics,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a confusing question.
I think that question is specifically trying to narrow out whether you are your personality or not.
Probably.
All right. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. I'm going to go with a completely disagree on that one.
Same.
It makes me feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but not in a I feel empathy and want to cry also. It just makes me feel uncomfortable.
I think I actually have a harder time crying if someone's actually crying because I don't know. I guess I'm a dick that way.
Yeah, I don't think that I've ever seen you even come close to tears, and I've known you for a long time and known you through several deaths.
Yeah.
All right. Your living and working spaces are clean and organized. I don't know what this is compared to. I don't know the baseline for this question. So I'm going to say I don't live in a disgusting house, but it could definitely be more organized. But my workspace has to be messy, and I'm going to go with neutral. There's not enough information. We're kind of wondering if this test is adaptive. So Trent's test no longer is the same as mine. And I don't know if that's just the website or if it's trying to ask questions that are more related to personality. So going forward, he will read his question and I will read mine.
Yeah. So you feel uncomfortable if a task is left half done. See, I don't know if I consider it a task. I want to get it done as soon as possible, but there's a lot of things that get left undone because I don't know. It's I kind of prioritize it as something that's a little more ongoing or long term. I'm just gonna go right down the middle on that.
Fair enough. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Um, I'm not going to say that I always stay calm because I'm a little bit of a dramatic bitch. What I will say is that under a lot of pressure, I am always calm. Like to a fault, I am always calm. So I think when it matters, I am. And I think that I'm just going to assume that that is what this question is asking. And I think that I've been called out for kind of having, I don't know. It really depends on who knows me, on how they see my disposition. Would you say that I'm normally calm or would you say I'm normally animated?
I would perceive this as more of a in the company of especially maybe other professionals or strangers where you might be perceived to be more reserved or kind of lashing out or something like that.
Yeah, so this is an impossible question to answer, so I'm going to say slightly agree because I don't know what it's asking.
Yeah, I got the same question. I would probably go with the same slightly agree. I would think in most cases I probably come across more withdrawn with more pressure than I would say uh, lashing out or breaking under pressure or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, let's see. You usually wait for others to introduce themselves first at social gatherings. It depends. There are some days where I want to introduce myself to people, and there are other days where it just depends on the crowd. If I think that I'm going to hate everybody at the place, then I'm not going to introduce myself. But if I have a certain objective in mind for why I want to introduce myself to people, then I will go and introduce myself first. But I kind of suck at doing that because I have some high social anxiety. So I'm going to go with slightly agree. So it's still in the agree, but not totally.
Yeah, I got the same question asked. I would say better. It said that social events you tend to stick with people you know rather than to introduce yourself to new people. It's pretty straightforward. I would completely agree with that.
You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. It's weird that these are like in different orders for us, but whatever. Um, you prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Yeah, life doesn't always work out that way, but I would say that I'm mostly agree on that one.
I would probably go with strongly disagree on that one because uh, I usually kind of have my schedule set up more of a like things that need to be done now, things that need to be say done today, this week, or like maybe just kind of have priorities rather than just having like a
Yeah.
do this then that. So like at any time, I probably have about a dozen things that I'm currently doing that I'm right in the middle of.
Yeah. See, now I want to change my answer. I don't think I can. Oh, I can change my answer. Because, like, so say I'm working on, like, a big task. Like, I'm working on my Taylor Swift But Make It Horror series right now. I wanted to finish Wildest Dreams. Like, my story inspired by Wildest Dreams. And it was kind of nice to have a break where I was not working on any other writing project. But at the same time, I have like 80 other tasks that I'm doing. So I don't know, but it's also talking about preference. So I don't know. My brain needs a break. I'm just going to go with neutral because this question confuses me. Thanks, Trent. I guess. You are very sentimental. I I'm pretty. Trent calls me out on being very sentimental all the time, so I'm going to go with a strong agree on that one.
And I'll go completely disagree. I don't even have social media. The only time I get my picture taken is if Ashton's doing social media or, family events like funerals, Christmas.
Like funerals or, Christmas, whatever happy time.
I mean, the most recent picture I have like on my phone is from Italy in 2019.
Good times.
Like I don't keep cards. I don't keep
That
pictures.
was 2019. I just posted a post about like how Ashton in March of 2019 would have had absolutely no idea that she went to Tokyo in 2023. And I'm just like, wait, I went to Italy that year. Did I even know that? I think we knew that we were going to Italy in 2019 and by March because we ordered those tickets way in advance.
I think we did by March. I don't. I think it was within a year, but I think March would have. I feel like it would have been too late in the summer for you to be comfortable booking tickets for Thanksgiving.
I don't know. I moved on. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. Yes, absolutely. Very strong. Strongest, yes.
I will go with slightly agree just because I do find them useful and usually organized, especially my work that way. But like, I don't like them at all.
Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. This is not a personality thing, this is an anxiety thing, so I will hit neutral.
Yeah, I'm probably fall towards being pretty self confident as far as like my abilities and knowledge, but I will also question everything in life if I get one fact wrong. So I'll go with slightly agree.
Do you feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation? It depends on how pretty they are. So I'm going to put a mostly agree.
I mean, I probably have like Asperger's or something, so like I have no uncomfortableness with just walking up to somebody and striking up a conversation. I just don't want to. So I'm going neutral.
You are not too interested in discussions about various interpretations of creative works. I am extremely interested. Excuse you. Hard disagree.
Yeah, completely disagree on that.
Facts and logic drive your actions more than emotions do. Absolutely.
Weird. I got like the opposite of that question. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Okay, so I guess it's the same question, but again, just worded different.
Indeed.
And I would completely agree with that.
You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. I love planning a particular daily routine, and then I love messing up my particular daily routine if there's nothing particularly important that I have to get done and if it sounds more fun. So, but if somebody interrupts my routine, I hate it. So we'll just go slightly agree.
The problem with this question for me is like during leisure time or like on a holiday or whatever, I would much prefer to kind of wing it, to just kind of see what comes up and let happen whatever so happens. But day to day, I don't like surprises at all. I want to know in advance what meals I'm going to have, who I'm going to be talking to, what chores I'm going to be doing that day, like how long I'm going to be working, like any any sort of crisis that could happen. I want to already have planned around even the possibility of that happening.
One of us went and saw the Coliseum, and the other one of us did not.
Yeah, and since it is saying particular daily routine, I'm guessing the question more is about just day to day life than say on a holiday. So for that, I'm going to go with like a strongly disagree.
You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. I strongly disagree, but again, I don't know if that's me and my personality or if that is the anxiety. Is it personality or is it just anxiety? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just going to go neutral on that because it really does just depend on the person. Like most people, I would not care one way or the other what they think about me. And like, I'm not trying to make a good impression, but if it's somebody I want to get to know or that impresses me in some way, I can be very subconscious about what kind of impression I'm making on them.
Yeah. Whereas I want to make a good impression all the time, so I assume that that's probably actually personality. You enjoy participating in team-based activities. Oh boy. It depends on the team because there are some times where I actually think that that's incredibly fun. But if it's at a work event where it is forced, I hate it. But let's put my desire to hate people aside and say mostly agree because when it's done right, I do actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to go strongly disagree.
You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. I almost exclusively write stories that make you come up with that. So, yes, I strongly agree with that.
And so I got the vague version of that question. You tend to be excited by deeper meanings or hidden implications. And I would completely agree with that. If it's just straightforward, it's just boring to me.
Helping others succeeds Helping others succeed brings you more happiness than your own achievements. Oh boy, I'm an asshole. I'm gonna mostly disagree with that one.
I don't know. I'm like as antisocial as I am. I do enjoy teaching people things and like I get like especially like a job. My achievements tend to run through making other people succeed. So like I think other people's success in that case is kind of indicative. Like it's not in any way separate from my own achievement. I hate the question. It's basically what I'm saying. So I'm going with neutral on that.
Fascinating. I don't think I would have expected that answer from you. I mean, neutral's fine, but I don't think I would have expected the beforehand. You often find beauty in chaos. I mean, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Like, I'm gonna go with strongly agree because I kind of like things that are chaotic and I can find the positive in them, but beauty and chaos, I'm sorry. I don't know what that means.
Mine is also a stupid question. You often see metaphors and deep meanings in everyday occurrences. I, I mean, like,
This entire conversation is a metaphor.
yeah. I mean, I think you're just stupid if you can't see how everyday occurrences kind of fit together and form an overall deeper picture. So, I mean, I guess completely agree. It's not like I sit around and thinking, oh man, I wonder how this sandwich is going to affect my chances of, I don't know, dying by the age of 72 or
I wonder
getting
about that sometimes.
getting a new home before the stock market crashes again or whatever the case might be.
You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. I hate these questions. All of these questions are: do you have anxiety or do you not have anxiety? Agree or disagree? Um. So looking at this objectively, I don't know. I'm actually a bit more of an optimist than a realist or a pessimist nowadays. So I'm gonna go with slightly disagree.
I would too. I wouldn't say that I worry about things taking a turn for the worse, but I tend to have contingency plans for the worst case scenario. And so I will slightly agree on that.
All right. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. That has a lot more to do with the fact that I kind of kept my voice a bit more quiet when I was younger because I'm naturally pretty good at leadership and it kind of annoys me that other people aren't and I keep forgetting that other people are bad at it. So even though I don't initially step up most of the time,
You
it kind
always
of
take
gets
over. You
it gets
completely agree.
forced on me. So I strongly agree because it gets forced on me, but I don't actively avoid it. I just it gets forced on me.
Have a completely different, like a extrovert introvert question, but it's kind of going for the same personality trait. Mine says you need time to recharge after being around people, and I'll say strongly agree. I would completely agree. It really depends on how much. It's not so much being around people that I'll need to recharge. It's socially engaging people that's draining for me.
You do not consider yourself an artistic type. I am very strongly disagreeing with that one.
I'll slightly disagree. I consider myself creative. It's not my priority though. Like as far as say intellectual pursuits versus creating, I do spend a good bit of time on projects that are say writing or uh, creating music or some kind of art, but on the scale, I spend more time, say, absorbing stuff than I do creating stuff.
In professional settings, you prioritize demonstrating competence over getting along with others. Oh boy. I strongly agree. Strongly agree. To the detriment of all things.
I got another stupid question. It said gaining influence or respect is more important to you than building close personal relationships. I just don't really see there being a difference. Like the only cases where I think you have any tangible influence or respect is when you have personal relationships.
I agree with that.
But now, I guess as far as gaining a public personality that people find influential or respectful is a different thing. But to me, that I don't really care what my public personality is. But I do care a lot about the people that I do care about. I do care that that I influence them and they respect me, and vice versa. And so,
I don't respect you.
yeah, I know. But so gaining more important to you than so I'll completely disagree with that.
You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. I feel like I'm not going to give away my personality, even though if you know Myers Briggs, you might have some inclination at this point. So I'm not going to say what this question makes me think about. This booze is strong. Thank you, Trent. um, my question is to find chores. If it's just household things, then I don't care. But if it's things that I told myself that I need to get done on that day, then absolutely 100% agree, and I'm just going to choose to interpret it that way. Because chores can't be tied into a certain dichotomy, right?
I'm thinking the question gets at that idea that I I can't sit here in a room that's dusty or unswept or like if there's a pillow out of place and feel comfortable relaxing. When it's time to relax, I can put the little things aside. I do I do find chores easier to do when there's not other things going on.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to do it during free time to like say throw on some music or a podcast or something and get some chores done. It can be relaxing in and of itself, but
See, if I agreed with that definition and that's what I thought they were going with, I would agree with you. I'm just going with chores or any obligations that I self impose.
yeah. But as far as like I can put aside chores when it's time to relax. Sometimes you just need to relax and like sometimes you just need to say, "Hey, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to relax," and I can do that. So I would say completely disagree.
Slightly agree. Okay, so my next question is you tend to be skeptical about the motives behind acts of kindness. I will say that I don't know if I'm necessarily skeptical about the motive, but sometimes it does kind of confuse me because there's less people who are genuinely kind for kindness sake that I have ran into in my different professions with certain jobs aside. But for the most part, I can be a little bit skeptical. So I'm going to say slightly agree.
I got a completely different question this time. It said, "You like watching intellectually rigorous debates, even if they get intense or confrontational?" And I would completely agree. I would say that if they don't get intense or confrontational, then it's really like, what are they even doing? You should be passionate about what you're debating. Now, if it's
So Trump
if
versus
it's
Hillary Clinton is your
no
idea
that
of a good time.
it says intellectually rigorous debates, Ashton, and that
I
was
don't know what you're implying, Trump.
and no, when a debate gets personal and you start getting off into logical fallacies and emotional arguments, no, that's not fun. I guess that's good television, but it's no longer an intellectually rigorous debate. So
Okay. You find the idea of networking or promoting yourself to strangers very daunting. I mean, I do actually. My YouTube channel is not even a year old yet, and I have business cards. But going up and talking to somebody makes me incredibly uncomfortable. So I'm going to say mostly disagree on that one.
I have a simpler version of the same question. It says you tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself, and that I'd say strongly agree. I would completely agree. I don't avoid drawing attention to myself. I just don't care about drawing attention to myself.
See, your mood can change very quickly. Um, my boyfriend would say that the answer to this is strongly agree, but I don't know. I feel like it slowly builds over time, so I'm just going to say slightly agree.
What is a mood?
I
Neutral.
don't know. You find it challenging to be patient with people who do not share your level of efficiency or knowledge. And no, I have trouble with laziness. I don't have trouble with levels of efficiency or knowledge, so I'm going to mostly disagree with that one.
Mine asks, you believe decision making should prioritize objectivity over personal values, and I find that question confusing. I think your personal value should be informed by objective criteria like data, a rigorous, coherent worldview. Uh, so I think your personal values have a place in decision making. That's You believe decision making should prioritize objectivity over personal values. Now, if it's like in a business situation and you're making like a business decision, of course, like say if it's like I should make money for my stockholders or I should lose money for them just because I don't know, this product looks better to me than this other product. Like that's just a stupid thing to do. You have very poor personal values at that point. So I don't know. I'm just gonna go neutral on that.
I knew you were going to go neutral. I was like, this is a very long explanation to end up at neutral. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. I have a lot of things going on, so it's not that I end up doing things at the last possible moment. It's that I only have time for them in the last possible moment. So I'm gonna go with slightly agree.
I would slightly agree too. There's some things that people would call procrastination that I would kind of push back on, like saying school, writing a paper. No, I'm not writing an outline 2 weeks in advance because I'm still thinking up here, like
Yeah.
how I want to structure the paper, like what ideas I want to put in, and it's going to switch around. And basically, I'll have a paper in my head before I ever sit down and write it. Once I sit down and write, it's only going to take an hour or two, anyways. And it's better to wait till the last possible second when you've thought the most about it and you're like, okay, it's time to write
Do
now.
you hate
I'm done.
outlines? I hate outlines.
I absolutely abhor outlines. I just don't see any value in them. Now, if it's like a book or something, having it broken down into like say chapters, knowing like what events are going to be in what chapters might be helpful. Or say if it's like a collection of like say a dissertation, you're going to want to know what theories are going to go in what order. You might want to do that. But as far as like a 3 to 10 page essay in college, you don't really need an outline, in my opinion.
Indeed. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty neutral on that one, honestly, because sometimes I think about it and other times I don't. And at the end of the day, I don't know if I actually care.
It says you find surreal or abstract art beautiful, and I don't
Okay.
know. And in most cases, I don't. But even like brutalist architecture, I find objectively ugly. But brutalist interior pieces or maybe art installments can be a good like a change of pace in a room or in a landscape or something. But once you kind of get into an overall aesthetic, I think it's objectively ugly. I'm just going to go neutral on that.
You're gonna go neutral again. You usually prefer to be around others than on your own. I can enjoy my own company. I don't hate my own company, but I do prefer it. I'm gonna say mostly agree on that one.
I'll completely agree.
You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. It depends on who's talking, and I hate these questions that are so if. Um, it really depends on who's talking. Like, I don't mind theoretical conversations. I'm just gonna go with slightly disagree on that one.
I typically will enjoy a theoretical conversation. Now, at some point, you have to circle around to application. When you're just kind of going off into theory and never getting into like why does this matter or like what how you can apply this to other things. Like at some point, I'm going to cut you off and say, "That's a cool story, bro. What does that? What the fuck does that have to do with anything?" Like so, I wouldn't even say I would lose interest. It just annoys me if you only stay in the realm of theoretical because I mean anything that's worth knowing has to be applied somehow.
Dude,
Let's see. So as far as losing interest, I would say strongly disagree.
I didn't realize that you had even not answered. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. I mean, sure, I can engage with other people's point of views. It doesn't. Yeah, I can empathize. Sympathize might be a little bit harder, but I can empathize. I'm gonna go with mostly agree.
I would too. I think being a good listener and being able to uh, kind of I think actually being able to detach emotionally from a story and kind of look at it objectively actually kind of sometimes helps with that.
Yeah. You find it challenging to maintain a consistent work or study schedule. I strongly disagree. I don't find it challenging, but I like to make it more challenging because it's too easy.
You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Really just depends on the decision. If it's something like there's some things you just don't want to spend way too much time thinking about. Like I already know what I'm gonna have for breakfast tomorrow because like I don't want to be thinking about that all day, laying down in bed, being like I'm kind of hungry. I wonder what I'm gonna have for breakfast in the morning. I already know. Like but there's some things that I like say what you're gonna do this weekend. Like well, the time that I do have free, I might want to see what the weather's like before making those decisions or see if say somebody I want to visit is going to be sick or whatnot, and so like there's value in both. I
See,
would say I usually don't postpone decision making. As long like once you have the data, you have the data.
you rarely second guess the choices that you have made. I'll say mostly agree. Like sometimes I will pretend like I second guess them, but typically when I make a decision, even if it's in a moment, it's based off of who I am as a person and I know instinctively what is best for me. So I'm gonna go with mostly agree.
I'll go completely agree for much the same reason. I don't really second guess myself. Like, am I sure I made the right decision or whatnot? But at some point, you know, further down the line, it's always good to look back and say, okay, given what I know now, how could I have made a better decision or
Yeah.
uh, that kind of thing.
After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need.
Completely disagree.
For me, I'm gonna say strongly agree. I don't get it very often, but I want it. You enjoy going to art museums. Yeah, I
Yeah, completely agree.
mostly agree. You often have a hard time understanding others' feelings.
Completely agree.
Um, I think I used the phrase, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't agree and it doesn't make sense to me. I'd like to say that I'm in the agree category, but, or in the disagree category, but I think I'm in the slightly agree. All right. You like to have a to do list for each day? Absolutely. I love to do lists. To do lists are my favorite.
I rarely have one for my personal life, but I'm going to have one for my. I can't think of a job where I haven't had one. Even simple jobs, I want to like. Even when I was in high school working fast food, like I had a list of everything that needed to be done, and then had like lists of things that nobody really ever does that needs to get done every once in a while, and so no one's ever going to do it. So I'm going to do it every couple weeks, and so I structure my work life that way, but I don't structure my home life that way.
See, for me, work is play and play is work, so I'm completely opposite on that one.
I'm just going to go with slightly agree, just because I think since work is a big part of daily life.
You rarely feel insecure. I neutral. I'm just like I have anxiety, and I'm just like neutral on insecure.
I don't even know what insecure feels like. What's that supposed to feel like?
Insecure, like feelings of inadequacy and not comfortable with your ability to perform.
I mean, there's times I feel like I don't want to be here, but I don't know if that's
And that does not count.
yeah. I'll go with slightly agree. Oh, I don't know.
You need a tranquil, low key environment to recharge. I'm gonna like I sometimes I forget that I need to relax and I relax in a low key environment, but me recharging is social events. So I'm gonna strongly disagree.
Social norms and expectations often feel more draining than energizing to you. Yes, especially when it's women between the ages of 50 and 70 that expect you to come and say hi to them every morning, and to who are going to ask, how are you? And you know that you can't actually respond to that with a genuine answer. You have to say some version of, great, how are you? But you can't use the same phrase every day, or they'll think you're being disingenuous.
You think too much about this.
I know. I'm going with completely agree.
You also spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. Oh, I'll go with agree. Strongly agree on that. Or mostly 100%, whatever word I'm trying to use there.
I'll say completely agree. I probably actually spend more time reading things from people that I know I already disagree with than I do spending time reading things that reinforce my own ideas.
Indeed. You look forward to meeting new people and easily connect with them. I am looking forward so much to find people that I can get along with and be friends with, but do I easily connect with them? No. No, I do not easily connect with new people. It really just depends on the person, so neutral. Damn it.
People often turn to you to boost the energy level of a group. No, they
No.
they often they often waste a lot of money on booze, thinking that they can get me to loosen up. And jokes on them, I'm a heavyweight, and it doesn't work.
He's was like 114 pounds maybe when I met him. He's like 5'11", 6 foot, and he's a heavyweight. It makes absolutely no sense. Um, you have many routines in your daily life that you generally stick to. Absolutely agree. I have 50 goals that I try to accomplish each month. And that is not all encompassing.
You regularly seek feedback from others in order to improve your efficiency and quality of work. I wouldn't say I regularly do that, but I do periodically actually go out and seek, like, uh, how am I handling this? Is there anything you think I should do better, or like anything that's missing at work or something like that?
You're such a good employee.
I know. Uh, so, specifically, since it's saying quality of work, I would go with strongly agree.
You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Um, lately I have cleared my karma on that, so I'm going to say with mostly disagree.
I wouldn't say I'm bothered by mistakes I made long ago. I would say that I will occasionally reflect back on periods of my life and try to actually pinpoint what mistakes I have made to try to avoid doing them again. Or, like, since I have younger siblings, you can pass on life lessons, say, hey, you shouldn't do that. Don't make the same mistakes I've done. And I mean, I guess that's part of getting old, but I would not
Agreed.
say that I am bothered by my mistakes. I would completely disagree with that.
You prefer not to take risk even when they might lead to new experiences. I love risk. Strongly agree or strongly disagree.
You believe that traditions should be protected and cherished.
I hate
You
that
see,
question.
I do too, because there's some things like a family tradition I think is a great thing, like having something that you did with your parents that your parents did with their parents is kind of a unifying thing. And especially, like, with religion, there's some parts of tradition that are good because it kind of builds a foundation of that kind of goes back through time. But tradition in and of itself, I wouldn't say like should be protected or cherished. Like,
Is this going to be a neutral answer?
no, I don't think so. I think tradition for tradition's sake it's stupid, but tradition with a purpose does have a place to be cherished. I kind of think it's kind of going more towards like a cultural tradition should be protected and cherished since it's specifically saying protected.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's stupid. I think the course of history has shown that society ebbs and flows, and I think that's a good thing. So I would go with slightly disagree on that.
Your emotions control you more than you control them. I completely disagree. I
Same.
don't let my emotions control me. You take great care not to embarrass others, even when it is their fault. I don't try to embarrass people. Whether they get embarrassed or not is entirely their fault. So I'm gonna go with mostly disagree.
Yeah, uh, kind of the same. I don't really want to embarrass anybody, and take. I would say I generally am conscious to not be an asshole because I know I'm an asshole. And so, like, that can lead to doing, like, putting somebody down and causing them embarrassment. So I'd only slightly disagree with that.
You quickly lose interest in what you were doing when you come across a new, more interesting idea. It depends. Am I working on a story where my characters reveal something new to me? Because then I will let them dictate who I am to be. But I I
Oh,
mean maybe. I don't I don't hold on to things, so I'm gonna go with mostly agree. I don't know if I like that question.
I'm going with strongly disagree. I think I will pick up new projects or ideas, but I have things that I've been studying or working on for over a decade now, and I just as passionate or interested in them now as I was back then.
God, I can't imagine lifelong passions on one singular thing. Am I sure on my personality type? When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Absolutely, strongly disagree. I mean, look, I if somebody values me for the things that I think that they should value me for, then I know that they're going to continually feel the same way towards me. And if it's something superficial, like I come across as very quiet and nice and introverted when people first meet me, I don't care. I literally don't care if they get me wrong and if they are disappointed later.
Yeah, I think people probably think I feel disappointment in them a lot more than I do. Like
I feel
I
so much
generally
disappointment in people, don't lie.
like and like I don't think I really care if I disappoint somebody else all that much. Like I kind of think you get what you get, but I probably lean more towards wondering at what point they're going to disappoint me than the other way around. So I'm going to go with strongly disagree.
All right, the next question. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. My ideal work environment is I work in a cubicle with people working around me and passing me by, saying hello to me, but leaving me alone. So, like, I'm working alone, I'm working independently. I don't know the answer. I'm just going to put neutral. I don't understand this question.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I definitely prefer hands on work, like just solo work, than I do collaborative work because I'm much more efficient than everybody else. And so it's just going to involve a lot of waiting. And I don't like waiting, but it's not like I don't like working with other people. I just want them to do their thing and let me do my thing. So I'll say completely agree.
You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. I'm finally getting your questions.
Well, no, you're getting the same question I have now.
Oh, I thought you had the same
No, I
question
had
earlier.
something similar. I went through that. I did that process to answer a question a while back.
I'm gonna go with abstract philosophical questions because there's absolutely like if it's abstract and there's no answer, I think that can make a cool story. But I get so bored because I need an answer and a solution. So I'm gonna go with and totally agree on that one.
Yeah, like I've already said, I think an abstract philosophical question is a waste of time. At some point, you have to come up with concrete application of it. But there's some things like even some things like where did life begin or the universe begin does actually have some telling application to things like personal morality
Yeah.
and things like that. So I don't really find those abstract. I think they're very meaningful questions. Like a truly abstract question with no answer, or like, say, a gotcha trick type philosophical question that's just supposed to make you think, I think is a waste of time and really kind of puts people off of kind of intellectual pursuits. And I really hate that. So answering just based on the question and not what I think they're trying to get to, I would say slightly agree.
You feel more drawn to busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. It depends on my mood, but I slightly agree.
I got you are vocal and outgoing when expressing your ideas at work or in a professional settings.
They want to claim that you are either an introvert or an extrovert. They're very confused on this.
I know, like, because this really has to do with self confidence and uh, like I will to a fault, like at work, say no, we need to do this differently. It's stupid. We're wasting our time. Like, there's no reason to keep doing this. There's no reason to keep talking about this. This whole meeting is stupid. Let's just go ahead and do this. And like, I'm very confident in how I do my work, and I let other people know. And I'm very good at instructing people and managing people. So like, vocal, yes, like with my ideas at work or in a professional setting. Outgoing is what kind of trips me up there because it's not like I go out of my way to be like, I have this wonderful idea, we should do it. But like once it comes down to my work, I will be very passionate and vocal about it. So I guess I'll go with slightly agree.
You consider it part of your personal mission to help others achieve their goals. Mostly agree. If their goals happen to align with mine, awesome. I have a podcast where I work on stuff with two other people and I want them to achieve their goals with the podcast. I have a Taylor Swift but Make It Horror project that I work on with Kayla. And if she achieves what she wants to, then fantastic. But I'm not going out of my way to make it happen. So I'm going to go with mostly disagree.
I was asked, you often have an intuitive sense of what someone is truly feeling. And I mean, I probably would say that intuitively, I have a very strong sense of.
Do you?
I think so. Now, like what they're truly feeling, like, do I know what it feels like, what they're feeling? Like, no. Do I say, you're very upset right now? I can tell it, and it makes no sense to me. This is a stupid thing to be
I
upset
don't feel like
about.
that's what the question is asking, Trent.
Yeah, I think it's really getting at empathy, like
Yeah.
like an empath type thing where you can feel what they're feeling, and I would strongly disagree with that.
There we go. You often feel overwhelmed.
I make myself feel overwhelmed because I want to have more on my plate than I like. It's not. I don't want to just have nothing to do.
And for me, like, yes, I feel overwhelmed sometimes, but like it's in a good way. And like I feel like this question is implying a negative connotation. So I'm gonna go with completely disagree because I don't like the implications of this question.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's catching me up is the implications of the question. I would say, like, I don't feel overwhelmed in the sense of, oh no, there's too much, I can't get it done. But I do. I would say I overburden myself, and for that reason, I'll go with strongly disagree.
Okay. No? Okay. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. I like to map out the steps just so I can keep things straight, but like there aren't steps. I'm gonna go with mostly disagree because I don't fully understand.
Before making decisions, especially important ones, you carefully weigh all options. I'd say completely agree with that.
You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. I'm not. I don't know. Like, I don't care for things just because they're labeled controversial. Like, I will read the comment section to see how people. I don't know. A neutral. I don't know. Like that one just kind of confuses me because I'm not gravitated towards controversial things. I just think that it's interesting to see the dynamics of personality.
You prefer to look for patterns and connections that go beyond the obvious. I mean, I think the connections and patterns are obvious. I don't know what you're talking about, but
This is a terrible test.
I put completely agree.
Oh, okay. You're willing to give up a good opportunity if you believe someone else needs it more. Do I want the good opportunity? If it is a good opportunity for me, I will not give it up. But if it's just a good opportunity, but it doesn't allow neutral, I don't know. I don't understand that question. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
I
be
mean,
selfish if I don't want it, but if I want it, I'm going to take it.
yeah, that's a thing with like an opportunity. Like, say if it's a job offer, obviously, if it's a job I want and I think I'm suited for, and someone else, even if they need it more, like if I need and want that job and I think I'm more qualified, I'm going to take it. But like I'm also very charitable with like if I have to choose between buying a meal or say uh, buying myself a nice meal or taking a family out and covering the bill, I'm going to do the latter. So I'm going to go neutral as well.
Yeah. You struggle with deadlines. It depends on how much I put on my plate. Like, if I were a normal person with normal day to day tasks, then I would strongly disagree. But I have a lot of projects. I tend to make that strongly disagree. Or completely disagree. I don't know.
Yeah, now with work, I'm very good and efficient at making reasonable deadlines. Now, some bosses are unreasonable and make unreasonable deadlines, and I'll let them know up front how long it's going to take. But typically, with a work deadline, I'm going to match it or exceed it pretty soundly. But with personal life, I set up my deadlines for me to fail to challenge myself. Like uh, so, but I'm gonna go with work deadlines because like personal deadlines don't really mean anything in the long run.
See,
So
I feel like they do.
I'll go with completely disagree
All
or
right.
strongly disagree.
My last question is, you feel confident that things will work out for you? I'm going to completely agree with that because I do.
Sames.
Okay, so our results are N, and I got my personality, which is an ENTJ. What did you get?
So I got INTJ.
Hey all, Future Ashton here. I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video, and we did not record an outro for this part, but there will be a part 2 where we talk about the results that we got, why we got the results that we got, and there will also be a little bit of a breakdown for how we view our personalities and what the test says about who we are and why we agree or disagree with it. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, and if you want to make sure to catch more Myers Briggs videos, then consider subscribing. Have a good one. Bye.